Hi and welcome. Today I will show you how to make these very simple pot holders. They are very practical, they're pretty, they're really simple to make. Very handy to make for yourself, or if you want a very quick and easy knit as a gift knit. I feel like you can never go wrong with these because everyone needs them. And they are made in thick cotton to make sure you don't burn your hands. Very beginner friendly and they last a long time. It's very fast to knit up. The pattern for these pot holders are free on Ravelry. I'll link it down below. If you don't have Ravelry, if you don't understand it, you can also just email me and I can send it to you for free. Okay, so for the materials you will need some 5mm needles. I'm using circular needles. You can also use DPNs, double pointed needles. That's also perfectly fine. I just prefer to use these. And you also will need 4 skeins of drops Paris. You can get away with only using 2 for both sets, so for 2 of them. Then you have to either skip making the hook to hang them on, or you have to just make it a few rows shorter maybe. You do have to make sure that it's still big enough that when you use them that you won't burn your hand, so you can measure with your hand. You can use drops Paris or find something else that is about 75 meters per 50 grams in 100% cotton. Okay, so to make this project you need 2 skeins and we're gonna hold them double. That means that we'll be using 2 of these at the same time to make them a bit thicker so you won't burn your hand when using them. So we will start by taking out the start of the yarn, finding both of these ends, like here. Here you have 2 of the ends. So to knit these pot holders, we will be holding them together to create a thicker yarn. When we're going to start casting on, then you need to pull out a bit extra yarn so you get this tail. I'll show you why. And we need to cast on 28 stitches. I'm going to have about a 50 centimeter tail. That means start 50 centimeters in here and then we will create a slip knot here. The slip knot will be your first stitch. So in the left hand I have the tail, and on the right hand I have the yarn that is connected to my 2 skeins of yarn. So I have about 50 centimeters tail here. I start down here. I just twist the yarn like that so I get a loop, and then I'm going to go through the loop with my right hand and pick up in the left one. And then I'm going to hold and tighten. Then you should have a slip knot. I'm just going to lay this one under here so they don't make too much noise. But you'll put the needle through and you can tighten like so. Try to not make it too tight, then it will make it a bit harder the first round. Now you have 2 threads going out of your slip knot. You hold the yarn like this, and I usually hold it here with my pinky and ring finger, I think it's called, so that it looks like this, but if you twist it, it's like this. And then I take the needle and I go under here on the first one and over and around in between. It will take some practice and you might have to rewatch it a billion times, but you will get there. And after a while it will become second nature. So we'll do it one more time because we need 28 stitches of these. And now we have 2. So we go under here on the first one and over and through. Like that, and then we tighten a bit. Make sure to not tighten it too hard. So now we have 3. And we go under, over, and through. Under, over, and through. Then you have to repeat that until you have 28 stitches. But keep in mind that with this pattern, every 2 is 1 stitch. Because we're holding them double, you have 2 lines here. I now have 28 stitches on my needle. And to start the first round, I will simply turn it around like this. Then all of the stitches is on the left side, and we have to make sure we have enough yarn to work with. And then you see here that we have 1 tail and 1 that is attached to the ball of yarn. To start, I knit continental style. There are different ways of knitting, but this is how I do it, and I find it the fastest and easiest. Less issues with my wrist when knitting. So to knit, you hold the yarn on your index finger, and then I tend to hold it tighter against here. like so. And for the first stitch, we'll just move this one to the back side. And now we will knit our first stitch. To knit, you go through here in the loop. You pick up the yarn, and you might need another finger here to help a bit to get the yarn through the loop, like so. And now you have knit your first stitch. We'll do that one more time. You go through the loop, through the stitch, pick up the yarn on the right side, and go through the loop. The first round is always the most difficult because it's the tightest, but also try to not tighten too much on the right side, because then you will end up with a way smaller pot holder. We'll try it one more time. Through the loop, we pick up the yarn, and we go back out again. We go in, we get the yarn, and we go out again. And then we continue like that all the way through. And we will knit all 28 stitches like this. Just remember that each two is one stitch. So you can't go in between of here, you have to take both. And also make sure that you get both yarn with you and that you don't only pick up one. And for the last stitch we do the exact same, but we just try to not stretch it out any extra to make a nice and neat edge. Now you knit your first row, and we will simply turn it around so all of the needles, all of the stitches are on the left side again, to knit back and forth, and then we will do this one more time. Since it is the first stitch, we just move this to the back side like that. And the first stitch is always the most difficult one on a row, so you go in and pick up the yarn and go back out again. And then we do the exact same. Back and forth. All the way until all of the stitches are on our right needle. Now we have knit 2 rows back and forth, and we have to continue until 18 centimeters, which is the full length. If you do want to only use 2 skeins of drops Paris, then you might want to shorten it with 2 rows maybe, or 17 centimeters, or skip the added hook. These ones don't have the hook, but I do have some that has the hook, and then you can get away with only using 2. Once you have the 18 centimeters or your desired length, we need to cast this off, because if you just pull it off the needles, everything will just unravel. So I'll show you how to cast it off. The first 2 stitches we will knit like normal. And by now you should probably be an expert on how to knit stitches. You go through, pick up the yarn, and out. The first 2 are normal, like so. And to cast it off, we simply take the first one we knit, and I'm using my index finger here to help, and we'll lift it over the first one, the second one. I can show you that again. So we knit 1 more, take the left needle and pull it over. And as you might see, I'm using my index finger here to hold back so that the other one won't slip off. We'll do it one more time. Knit 1. Then I'm using my index finger here and pull off. And try to not tighten it too much, because then the top will be much more narrow than the bottom, and we want a bottom equal square. What you're doing now is casting it off. When we're at the last one, we knit it like normal. We pull over, and then you can stretch that out, and you cut the yarn and you pull that one through, like so. This one is made now without the hook, but if you want the hook, you can either download the pattern and look at the explanation there, or I have a shorts video. I'll link that below as well, and you can see how that one is made. But now all you have to do is to cut the yarn, attach the loose ends, and then you have a perfect new pot holder. Thank you for watching. I hope it was a fun project to make. Please let me know down below how the project went for you and how many you've made, what yarn you used. I always like to hear that. If you post them on Instagram, then please don't forget to use the hashtag Eden's Potholders or Knit by Eden. Then I can see your creation. Please leave a like if you want to make this project, and I will see you next time. Bye!